In the coming months, boards will need to provide oversight of contingency planning, scenario planning, and stress testing. Additionally, they need to focus on assessing the liquidity needs of their organizations, strengthening supply chains, identifying emerging market opportunities and risks created by changing customer expectations, new regulatory developments, evolving business environment, and the workforce strategy. Leading boards are challenging themselves to look beyond tomorrow. So, hello everyone. I am Sumedha Varma and I manage SAP Concur's enterprise business portfolio for India. Let us today discuss priorities of leading boards, strategic risks, and opportunities they are focusing on for driving short-term and long-term value for their organizations. And I would like to say that organizations have evolved dramatically in the past few decades. Supply chains have globalized, technology drives and enables much of what we do. New enterprise models have emerged to facilitate these shifts, but one component of the traditional business model was largely unchanged. That is the board. So what was the impetus for change? As many organizations have continued to perform well financially over the short term, despite the recent turmoil. And while regulators in few sectors have asked for minor changes to how boards operate, there has been no huge pressure to adjust. But this is slowly changing because, firstly, the risk landscape has become more disruptive. Second, there is a need for a nimbler approach to seize the transformation opportunities. More than 8 in 10 boards believe that their business strategies need to be agile and evolve more quickly. Third, there is an increasing pressure from a wide range of stakeholders to deliver long-term value. So I will be talking about 3 major areas of board oversight required to reframe the future of organizations. That is sustainability, risk, and return to workplace strategy. So beginning with return to workplace strategy, with the dozens of meetings we had, what an year the CHROs had. Initially focus on crisis management, how to get ready for that, to thinking about policies, to then thinking about physical safety, mental health, and well-being, to thinking about how to keep people connected, productive, and working. So now CHROs are thinking more about returning to workplace, and so much really gets woven into that as they are looking ahead, as they are getting for attrition search. Even you have the best organization. People are fatigued. CHROs are looking at how to attract the right talent, focus on diversity and inclusion. Earlier, it was really thought of as an edge, but truly today, now it is normal. So, driven by a number of factors ranging from the pandemic and its threat to workplace health and safety, to growing investor and regulatory focus on human capital management, workforce strategies will surely remain spotlighted on 2021 boardroom agendas. So one major area of board oversight is whether, when and how the workforce can return to offices and other facilities and in what configuration. So interestingly, boards haven't exercised much oversight in this area in the past. And it was pretty much, and really appropriately left to the management. However, due to the pandemic, board is now looking at how to keep workforce connected, as this is what is really part of an organization's culture. And when they return, what sort of office or facility or in what configuration they would be returning in. And now, since most of the organizations are considering hybrid workspace environment, so with these new workspace models, boards are considering how to preserve culture, and the management teams are keeping a pulse on how organization culture would be shaping up with the changing work models. Some of the organizations really during this time of so much of disruption and turmoil, they did what they were earlier really not capable of doing, which is really one of the biggest barrier from culture perspective. That is speed of decision making, breaking down silos permanently, working transparently, increasing communication and collaboration. So all of these are important aspects when driving transformation. So I believe that before we lose this momentum, which is actually a risk, which boards need to consider, we need to look at behaviors that made it possible for organizations to transform and make these barrier-breaking behaviors part of the routine so that it becomes part of the organization culture. We have also observed that boards, when looking at mergers and acquisitions now, are also considering how seamless it will be to embed acquired organization into their culture. What are their behaviors? What is the level of the other organization's digital proficiency? Hybrid work will also promote flexibility, and so impact on business functions will have to be assessed. For example, for finance functions, will your organization be able to support remote audits? Irrespective of the industry you belong, this is, I would say, a common issue for everybody. So current workspace environment has also posed a new challenge, which is talent availability. While unemployment remains relatively high, many organizations are finding that the talent which is available does not match the talent need or requirement, which is pretty much a threat to operational sustenance and implementation of growth strategies by the board and the management. So many organizations we are working with across industries, whether it is banking and financial, or it is consumer goods, or it is pharma, they are looking at creating exceptional employee experiences. And as per a study carried out by PwC, organizations which create exceptional experience for their employees have higher employee engagement, resulting into improved retention, profitability, and customer satisfaction. So, organizations are utilizing technology for eliminating routine manual work from employee schedules, digitizing processes, and making the processes intelligent by embedding intelligent technologies, as I mentioned, such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, RPA, and also helping employees create more value for the organization and also for themselves. And this is totally a win for the organization and the employees both, because employees are getting more satisfaction for being involved in more strategic and value-added work. And this may also really mean that organizations need to spend time in also upskilling their employees to work in the current workspace environment. So talking about technology, even from diversity and inclusion perspective, one point to consider is that whether all of your employees have a voice. Organizations we are speaking with are utilizing technology to gather voice. For example, feedback surveys to find out whether an application you implemented, is it really benefiting employees? Is it making them more productive? Is it helping your organization simulate experiences employees are having in their personal lives that is more meaningful, productive, and personalized? So with this, boards are considering a longer-term focus on return to workforce strategy, risk mitigation, and also a measurement of all of these initiatives. Another important focus area for board is sustainability, as investors understand that a company's performance depends on environmental, social, and governance factors and directly affects long-term profitability. Most CEOs now also recognize that ESG issues should inform their corporate strategy. Boards are also considering development and application of ESG-based compensation metrics, which are designed to incentivize management to improve performance in the areas which range from diversity, equity, and inclusion to reductions in greenhouse and maybe other emissions. At the present time, many of these metrics may be rudimentary, but however, it is likely that over time, these metrics are going to become more nuanced. For example, by comparing a company's performance in an area against, that of its peers, customers might choose to do either, they might choose to either do business with you or not do business with you, and your investors, may choose to either invest with you or maybe not invest with you. Quite a few of our customers have sought our help to measure the sustainability. So travel and expense or employee spend management program is one area where it is possible to measure the overall impact. And I'll tell you how. Even you can guide your employees towards a greener travel before, during, and after their trip. That is, should they rent a hybrid car? Does a same-day trip make more sense? Could the meeting be held virtually? It is to show them the impact by including a benchmark for measuring sustainable business travel. For example, carbon emission reports to accurately determine environmental cost. For example, taking the train from X to Y can reduce the emissions by 96% compared to flying. So as per Sustainability Index, 80% of business travelers are also more inclined to work for an organization with a sustainability policy. So giving your sustainability program a meaning by showing numbers, measuring and tracking them is providing tangible proof to your investors, customers, and employees so that you make this world a better place for all of us to live in. So moving to the last section, risk. So risk is pretty much everywhere and it is changing rapidly. New technologies, demographic shifts, and globalization are happening. As we see reinvention of industry, consumption of business models, and even the very future of work. So while this transformation is revealing new opportunities, there are also many new risks for the companies. And the board's role here is very critical. Boards today are challenged to help steer companies through a shifting risk terrain and also overseeing a dynamic risk management approach. While prevention must always remain a priority, advanced risk crisis preparation is now imperative to building agility and readiness in the face of fast evolving risks. As both see their agendas continue to expand, they also must remain attentive to financial reporting and regulatory matters. And this, requires a constant, I would say, rebalancing of attention. So by staying abreast of emerging issues and governance trends and proactively ensuring insights and education, leading boards are surely optimizing their effectiveness and also empowering themselves to improve risk oversight and maximize strategic opportunities. They are, in fact, transforming their approach to risk oversight and board effectiveness. So some of the areas where boards are providing their oversight are related to regulatory, fraud, cyber, and liquidity risk, among many others. And it is important because over the years, for example, our customers have also highlighted regulatory change and increasing regulatory scrutiny as one of the top risks. Compliance and risk concerns surely drive business change like nothing else. For example, in Europe, two of the most comprehensive business catalysts over the last 15 years were driven by the need to meet regulatory compliance requirements for GDPR and UK Bribery Act. And there are such new laws, getting passed globally. And these new laws impact business focus for sure. And the impact is felt across supply chains, could be even employee management and areas like these. So because of regulatory demands like these, risk analytics and risk management will be very critical by 2025. So for companies having global operations, regulatory risk management and building strategies utilizing technology to nipping these sort of risks in the bud and keeping them at bay is surely critical. In addition to that, in today's challenging economic climate, fraud is also a heightened risk for organizations. There are several explanations for the rise in fraud. Individuals may be tempted to misappropriate assets to support their lifestyles or maybe to conceal their organization's viability challenges. And remote working has also undermined the effectiveness of control in some organizations. While pressure to respond to these fast has also resulted in greater use of exceptions and workarounds, such as manual payments and technological advances, while they have their benefits, are also increasing the opportunities for fraud and also the speed at which they are taking place. So fraud is not just a priority for boards, it is also attracting the attention of financial regulators and standard setters. So leading boards are taking actions to enhance the effectiveness of their financial reporting process, making controls stronger, using technology to detect and prevent frauds, and using auditors to perform a very comprehensive risk assessment, which is in compliance with laws and regulations. So work from home has also created an opportunity for cyber attackers. A remote workforce puts strain on organizational infrastructure, and it also increases the risk that the important processes are sidestepped and proper security controls are not applied to all the new systems and tools. And we have seen this becoming slowly and steadily as a number one challenge. So the oversight of board in this area is extremely crucial to ensure cyber resilience of organizations. Boards will also need to constantly evaluate and take suitable action to navigate this overall cyber threat landscape. So organizations are strategically investing into cybersecurity and also looking at procuring applications which already have very strong inbuilt security controls. They have the right certifications, etc. The last risk I will be covering is liquidity. And without really undermining the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and or all the other matters which I have discussed before, they can become more or less relevant or even render meaningless if a company has to lay off employees or possibly shut down due to liquidity concerns. So during the pandemic, many businesses and in some cases entire industries have been forced to take these actions as revenues have slowed down to a trickle or have completely dried up. And the old saying, cash is king has also been very famously, I would say, revived. So I would say the range of actions taken by companies now has included conserving cash by delaying or eliminating planned expenditures, stretching out required payments, and seeking to renegotiate leases and other contractual obligations, as well as credit lines and maybe other borrowing arrangements. And in some cases, some organizations have simply defaulted. Cash preservation has also impacted certain companies' dividend strategies more than anything. It has affected, obviously, shareholders. And as the pandemic seems likely to extend into 2021, obviously, industries across the globe are showing very, very strong signs of recovery. Boards will still need to remain vigilant about overseeing management actions to preserve or wherever possible, increase liquidity, have flexible and real-time budgets for resource allocation, etc. So the three top priorities I have just discussed, which are part of the board agenda, it is nothing but really framing the big picture for ensuring that organizations have a better future. Because you need to return to work with successful strategy for talent. You need to work towards making this world and work better. You need to look at the risks for preserving the future of your organization, becoming more resilient, and also reinventing your strategy as we move to 2021 and beyond that. Board is the ultimate steward of business resiliency. And now, more than ever, as discussed through various examples, boards need to ensure that organization, with the help of management, is using technology for staving off risks, adding business value, staying agile, and forward focused. Thank you.